stream is almost all ready. I just need to put the word commentary. Just take Williams out. Commentary. That should already be. Yeah. Commentary. Yeah. Alright, I'm ready to rock. And you should get that link any second.
Yep, I think we're set and ready to go, actually.
Yep.
We got a few people already queuing in. We got the drivers readying up. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick the show on the road. Well, kick the show on the road. Let's get the show on the road and let's kick this show off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Prospects eRacing League. Happy Tuesday, everybody. As we are here for the PlayStation Tier 2 Round 8 here at COTA for the United States Grand Prix. Commentators here tonight, and yes, it is a different voice. Feldman isn't here today, but it's going to be myself, Just Gaming, as well as Artistic. How you doing, my man?
Hey, happy to be here. It's going to be an amazing week. We've already had great starts this week with Tier 1 in both PC and the PlayStation, so we're just going to try to keep the ball rolling.
And we also actually had the PC Tier 2 race stream earlier today, where we actually saw quite a few people actually struggle with the track limits here today, here at COTA, which we are here today, here in Austin, Texas, ladies and gentlemen. So a very difficult track, especially through sectors 1 and 3. Very, very crucial to get all of those corners down to the T. But as we are here at COTA, let's give these drivers and people back at home a little bit of a description about where we are. So here we are for the Formula 1 Aramco United States Grand Prix 2022 here at the Circuit of the Americas, also known as COTA, where the first ever Grand Prix at this track was actually back in 2012. So a pretty new track to the addition, but the United States Grand Prix has been through Formula 1 through generations and generations, where they've had a lot of different places in the world, in the US, to actually host the United States Grand Prix. You had Indianapolis, you had the Indy 500, you've also had Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. You've had it all over USA, where they've hosted the United States Grand Prix. But with the addition of with the leave of Indianapolis back in 2007, we are here at COTA for a continuation. But there's been another United States Grand Prix added, and that is the Miami Grand Prix that we'll be having in the next game of F1 22, and I'm very excited for that one, Artistic.
Absolutely. I was hoping to be able to go to Texas here a couple of years ago, just before the pandemic started. I had just gotten into Formula 1, and it was like, oh my God, they've got an F1 circuit in Texas, and all of a sudden, you know, all heck broke out. And since then, things have opened up enough for people to feel, you know, some people to feel more comfortable going back out there to the circuit. So it definitely is a fan favorite here in the States, but we hope the whole sport can grow, you know, much more out here. You know?
Well, a lot of these drivers are going to be doing their homework here tonight, as this track is actually very, very difficult with a lot of the drivers. I'm looking at the chat, so hello to Bing Room. We also have Bevo, A Blam, as well as Equazer in the chat as well. Love to see the support from everyone in the chat and everyone from watching around the world. But we're actually going to go on board with Matty D13, who is currently in the AlphaTauri and actually driving the mediums here tonight for the short qualifying session that we're going to be experienced to. But when it comes down to the strategy, we actually only see 3 people with the medium tires. Artistic, what strategy do you think will be best here, actually?
Well, you know what? You know, I've been hearing a lot lately the last couple of days that the mediums aren't typically that great here on this track. So I'm thinking maybe people might try to push those softs out, maybe 11, 12 laps, and then see if they can take it to hards the rest of the way. So soft to hards would seem to be the fastest route to me.
Well, let's see, with this track, actually, when you look at this track, you can actually see a lot of similarities with other tracks on the calendar. With Sector 1, you actually have those S's that kind of reminds you of 2 different tracks. It reminds you of Suzuka in Japan, and it also reminds you of Maggots, Beckett, and Chapel at Silverstone in the UK. So a lot of inspiration for COTA here today, as well as Sector 3 being inspired by another track. I can't remember on the top of my head. But the one key thing about this track that makes it very unique, as we're going to be on board with Matty D13, is that on the uphill towards turn 1, you have a lot of space to go side by side with people, a lot of easy overtaking opportunities for these drivers down towards turn 1. And as they say in Texas, everything is bigger in Texas, isn't it? And just by turn 1, you just see it being replicated right there.
I think a lot of the problems on this circuit is the fact that a lot of people feel as if there's no originality. It's almost like it's a bastardization of several other tracks all scrumped together. So, certain parts of the track may be like, oh, look like we got a big collision right here between Lost Robot and who did Lost Robot hit? Oh my goodness,
David Boyer. As they were going side to side around turn 1, they tried to do it, but absolutely catastrophic proportions right there. Wow, so unfortunate there. I'm looking in the chat, a good question there from Bingram. I'm actually going to ask you first, Artistic. Pole position predictions. Who do you think will be getting the fastest lap here today?
Why am I not pulling up the chat? This is not pulling up for me here.
Oh, no worries.
Pole position today, let me see, just looking at the field right now, I don't know, man. It's really hard to say. Give me a second. Give me a second to think about that because Tintoretto has been on a tear. We know Rhino is a two-time champ. Crew Steamer has been kicking the teeth out of this, division for a while. Owen is a beast in both PC and Tier 1. I mean, I can just go up and down the line. Coconuts. I mean, come on, man. Jonesy. Daddy, who you gonna say can't win? I think any of these. I would have to say, is it about 17 guys left on the grid? No, okay, we're still in close. All 20 showed up. I would say, I don't know if all 20 would have a shot, but let's get it a little further before I make any predictions. It's really too tough to tell right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's because here in Tier 2, all of these drivers give it their all, and they're pretty much around the same pace. And what an extraordinary lap that was right there from Tintoretto, who's been honestly absolutely extraordinary here. I believe in his first season of Prospects. If I'm right about that, and if that's the case, honestly, he's been starting it off with an absolute banger, as he is so far in P6 in the driver's standings with 55 points. And honestly, he can go really far here in Prospects. But for my answer to that one, I'm gonna say Jonesy. I'm gonna tell you why. It would have been first at the time Captain Jack, also known as Drunk Pirate, but now known as Lost Robot Racing, after he had that collision. However, Jonesy, I was actually commentating in a race between these two actually earlier today, and Jonesy has actually had a very, very good race. So he's already warmed up. He knows the track. Like he's a little bit more experienced. And I think he might come out with the fastest lap here today. We're going to have to wait and see. Of course, that's not what a lot of people are going
to... You might have to define that a little bit, not to cut you off, because when you say experience, I look at a guy like Shane MC, even though his name is really not all that familiar recently because he's been kind of busy in his own life, but he's a two-time champion. We're going back like 6 seasons ago. So when we look and see how long these guys have been racing, as you talk to these gentlemen, some of these guys have been in this racing this particular game system since what? F1, well, when it first started, however many that's been. So, some of these guys are faster than other guys on certain circuits. And I keep saying the word guy. When I'm from California, Los Angeles to be specific, so I use the word guy as a neutral gender type of situation. Guys are girls and guys. They're all guys.
I say the same thing with lads, mate. So it just shows that we're all pretty much the same at this point. But let's see. When I mean by experience, I mean like right now. Like what I mean by experience, let's say, what I mean by experience is more like, instead of like, when I mean experience, I'm not talking about like years and like continuous seasons. What I'm talking about is current form, and I did say the wrong word, so I meant current form right now.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
So I think
Some of them race on the real world too. Some of these guys go from the sim to the street. So when you combine that level of sophistication too, it's a whole new dynamic. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what a lot of people's background actually was. Like, when you look at the biggest names in F1 esports, like Jano Opmeer
Oh,
and
he's a beast.
Blakely, like all of those like big names,
Watch
they've
that.
started out like every other Formula One driver, like Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. They started out with go-kart racing, and the same goes with people that do professional esports in Gran Turismo, which we are starting up, and also other games like Assetto Corsa, iRacing on the PC. Like they started out with go-karting because that's where you pretty much start everything off. Like. And that experience right there just really capitalizes your whole like pace, both virtually and literally. But I am
Well,
seeing
speaking
some
of
people
karting,
queuing in once again, so I want to say welcome to everyone that is queuing in. Welcome to Prospects eRacing League here for the PlayStation Tier 2 division of Round 8 here at CODA, Austin, Texas, for the United States Grand Prix. Commentators myself, Justin, as well as Artistic, and Feldman couldn't make it here today, so I'm gonna take the step in. And you know what? This is gonna give me a little bit of practice for Tier 3 that's happening tomorrow. So I hope those guys are watching in and ready for
you always do a
their race
fantastic job.
tomorrow.
Hey, but the
And
playoff, what you were saying about karting, I just noticed in the chat we've got my man Equator OG from the PRL League, and he's a karter. I've got a picture that he sent to the main Discord a while back, and I had him send it to me directly because I paint as well, and I wanted to paint a picture of him in his kart as he got fastest lap. He won P2 in the race, but he was fastest lap on the track. So it was like we got guys who kart, who drive, who sim race. It's just a multi-platinum platform type of speed demons out here, and I love it.
yep,
Absolute gentlemen and gentle ladies too.
yeah, and I'm actually looking at the chat right now. Actually, Bevo is actually not racing here today, as he was saying in the chat, and he's actually battling out for the Drivers' Championship, as he's currently in third with 63 points. However, he is not here. In his words, his pedals broke. His pedals aren't. Oh no! Like I feel so bad for him. Like when you move into the wheel after coming off from controller.
It takes a while.
You just like your mindset is right there. Like okay, like especially when it comes to the setups in this game. There's wheel setups, there's controller setups, and all of the sort. But one thing I'm actually going to be keeping an eye on, Tintoretto, who's going side to side here almost with the Haas of Pigman Man, I do believe. Yep, and they were actually having themselves a little bit of a taster, a little bit of a. They're trying to get us excited for the race, and honestly, here at CODA. What more could you want? I could probably be here right now with a huge ribeye steak, and I'll still be patriotic.
You know?
I mean, granted, I'm not American, but honestly, when you go to a track like this, where you see those high elevation changes, those top speeds, down DRS straights, honestly, what more could you want than have such a beautiful meal with you at this track like this? And what would you say, like looking at the track, actually, I'm gonna ask the people in the chat as well, what would you say is your favorite part about the track? Because you have those S's in Sector 1, you have that long DRS straight, you have that triple apex right-hander between turns 16 and 18 in Sector 3, as Jonesy takes provisional pole with a 131.856, taking it so far by around, what's that, 7 thousandths of a second.
I think for me it's got to be the sense of relief if I make turn 9 correctly, and then trying to shoot around that back straightaway to see if I can kind of, get a good setup on this last technical end coming into the third section after I complete this long straightaway. That's typically my favorite part of the section, and it's gonna make or break whether or not I'll be able to have a good race or it's not gonna go too well for me.
For me, actually, is my favorite is actually that triple apex right-hander between turns 16 and 18 in Sector 3. Mainly because when you're out there and you have the force feedback on the wheel, if you're on the controller, either way, you can just look at the driver and you can see the amount of strength that these drivers are going to need. Especially if they use a wheel with like a maximum force feedback. Because that turn 16 to 18, very, very difficult to get right. Especially if you have a... what's called a like a less downforcey setup. And one thing that capitalizes it as well is that giant tower, actually, like multiple floors. I believe over 20 floors that that tower is, and was actually featured in a Dude Perfect video, actually. Of course, Dude Perfect being a trick shotting group, and that
Appreciate
was actually my
that.
introduction actually to Formula One because of that them being at the track, and I haven't really seen much of the track other than that.
Well, I mean, it's in a really nice area, and it's clearly well beloved as far as American circuits go. But the problem is, in America, we are just not currently an F1 centered nation. We don't seem to know it exists. It's like, well, if you talk to people out here about racing, the first thing that comes to mind is NASCAR. And even though it's probably great racing, but it's absolutely different both in its inception, its culture, and it's actually racecraft. You have some drivers who can typically go from somewhere like F1, and they can slide over into Indy and maybe even NASCAR and things of that nature.
Romain Grosjean right there.
Exactly. But no one has the ability to do that coming back the other way around. Only 20 drivers in the world right now can race on the Formula One level, and none of them are American, unfortunately.
Well, actually, talking about American-based sports, especially motorsports, you've actually have a lot, as I was saying earlier, a lot of different tracks that host the United States Grand Prix. One of them being Indianapolis and the Indy 500, which also hosts NASCAR-based events. And when they actually were having the United States Grand Prix at COTA last season, we've actually saw a lot of big names, not just from the hip-hop industry, but also from sporting industry, where we have, from the sporting industry, sporting and hip-hop a little bit, we actually had Shaquille O'Neal, who was actually out there, one of the biggest celebrities out there. Of course, a major successful businessman. We also had David Beckham that came out there to support Lewis Hamilton. And you just had like a lot of people, but the funniest thing that capped it off for me, as we watch Pigman Man now, trying to complete his lap, the one thing that caught me and really made me chuckle a lot, I actually saw a video online about Shaquille O'Neal trying to get into a Formula One car, and he could barely fit inside of the freaking
my daughter always teases that that's not him in that Buick on the commercial. She's like, that's not you in that Buick, Jack. We just fall out every time he's in the Buick. So I know he can't fit in Formula One. Okay? Absolutely not. And I think the biggest star of last year's F1, unfortunately, to my own personal preference, was Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen came through with a quality win in COTA last year, and it absolutely just shredded my heart. But good win. But my absolute favorite, all-time favorite F1 race here in the United States of America was in Indianapolis, 2007, Lewis Hamilton's rookie year.
Yep.
And he won that race.
Yeah, and I believe that was actually the last time we saw a race at Indianapolis for Formula One. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I believe you are.
Yeah, so let's actually get these drivers a little bit of a background of where we are here. So we talked about Indy 500, we talked about Indianapolis. We've also have my friend Chappers, who does the co-commentary with me on Wednesdays for Tier 3. He came from the MotoGP background, and there's been a lot of races in MotoGP in the U.S. as well. But here at COTA, actually, where the circuit was actually designed by Herman Tilke in collaboration with the American agricultural firm HKS, endured something of a nervy start with construction suffering several setbacks. But then, in the end, it was well worth the wait, though, when 1978 F1 champion Mario Andretti opened up the track on October 21st, 2012, and that is when it came to over 100,000 spectators packed the Austin venue, witnessing, as you said, Lewis Hamilton's last ever win in a McLaren before his switch to Mercedes, actually, in 2013. So basically, the final race at Indianapolis, he won his first race. And then coming to COTA, he won his last race at McLaren. So the United States and Lewis Hamilton really comes together right there, actually, with that. But
it's pretty much been his track, his country when he gets here. It's almost like he gets a home reception, almost the way when Max shows up in places outside of Austria. Outside of the Netherlands, he's also in basically Austria, the Netherlands, almost even Spa. Max seems to be a really close region to Max's home, and he seems to get home cooking there. So Lewis gets it here, and I'm sure players have There's other countries who look forward to guys who show up, like Alonso whenever he gets to Spain. That's his home nation, but they love him
Exactly.
other places as well.
It same goes with drivers like Checo when he
Yeah.
goes to the Mexican Grand Prix. But I'm actually on board right now with Tintoretto, who actually had that extraordinary lap of a 131.863 at the beginning of qualifying. But right now he's currently down on his lap. But you can actually see, look at the head movement as he makes his way towards the triple apex right-hander here between 16 and 18. And you could just show that the amount of core strength, not just the arm strength, the core strength, the leg strength, but also the mindset to just keep on pushing, and he is able to gain around 3/10 in that final sector to make his way up to the top. And Jonesy is right now coming around the final corner. We're going to stay on him to see if he can retake pole position. He needs to improve by over a 1/10.5, and he'll be getting that pole position. Tintoretto does not look like he's going to be going for another lap. Dylan as well is going to be going for a lap as well. Of course, a big name here as Patty Pad has had himself a retirement. I don't know where he's to. He has crashed out coming into the pit lane. Oh, no, sorry. He has crashed out coming around the final corners trying to start a new one. We just saw Harris improve to a 10th place position. But now let's see Jonesy. Has he been improving coming into Sector 2 here, Artistic?
Oh, I see Patty Pat. I was just trying to catch up to Patty Pat. I see him on the side of the wall over there. It looks like he just spit out coming around that final turn there, huh?
Yeah, the oversteers can really mess up these drivers, but Jonesy right now is down the long DRS straight, passing the well, no, not the carousel. What do you call that that amusement park thing again? I am so having a mind fart right now.
Oh, you just gave it to me, and I love those. Like a Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel, thank you. Because we don't have those here. But Jonesy does have a purple sector 2. This could be a new a back-to-back, well, not a back-to-back, but like retaking pole position here as he hits the apex on turn 17, misses, actually no, just hits it on the exit of turn 18 here. 2 corners left, and he just invalidates it on the penultimate corner as he now comes around the final corner, and he's going to be seeing his time, or what would have been, it would have been a 131.729, which would have given him pole position by 0.02 of a second, but just misses out because of an invalidation, and he's going to line up on the front row. I was almost right with the prediction.
You know, this first turn one is so tricky, though. I mean, you do so much defending, even from that lead position, that the pole isn't necessarily a guarantee to come out of that top spot. He's really going to have to hold that inside line tight to keep those guys from getting in there on him.
Yeah, but that's going to be it, actually, for qualifying here. Tintoretto actually takes the pole position in the dying moments of qualifying. Jonesy would have had it, but just misses out on it due to an invalidation. Dylan and Natty lining up on that second row. I'm looking at a chat. A lot of people are really enjoying it. Alfred saying, gotta watch out for turn 11 and 12. Both tier 1 and 2 was great there on PC. Thank you so much for the... what's it called, for the notification on that one. We also see Paige in the set. Hey, Justin. Okay, Paige, if you're going to tell me right now that you're sick because you won, and you have that, like with Paige, every time she gets into like a podium in tier 3, the next race she's sick. Just out of nowhere. But if you tell me that right now, Paige, I'm going to be severely disappointed. But that's going to be it for qualifying, actually. So all of the top 10 running on a set of softs, except for Shane MC starting on the set of mediums. And that could be a very, very good strategy call for him. He's going to be one to watch. But that's how the line runs out. And the back is going to be the early retirements of Lost Robot Racing, David Boyer, as well as Vigilante. So both of the Ferraris actually at the back of the grid.
Hey, we see Alfred says that everybody watch out for turn 11 and 12. He said both tier 1 and 2 were great there on PC, so don't blow it. I had to throw that last part in there.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that, but what's it called? But we're going to be having a formation. I'm going to get these drivers, get those tires nice and warm for the race start. And to be honest with you, in the heat here in Austin, Texas, not going to be that difficult.
Oh, and I wasn't telling you not to blow it, buddy. I was teasing the grid. I was telling them not to blow it on that turn. No, you're a beast. You kidding me? But as are they. As are they.
Yeah, I need it, bro. Bro, it's so like it's hot over here, man. Like it's seriously
Hey,
boiling.
Texas is crazy. I lived out there for, like I said, I'm a Californian, but I lived in Texas for 3 years, and it is a trip. It's like the most crazy weather that you could ever even think about. You know, they had lightning storms that was so crazy. I remember I was about to get in my car to go to work. A lightning shine. I couldn't even see for about 30 seconds. I called in scared at my job. Like, nope, I'm scared. I don't think I'll be making it in today.
Well,
I
hey,
said,
better
no.
safe than sorry, but hopefully we won't be experiencing any of that today. But you gotta say, now when it comes down to the formation lap, it's all gonna come down to strategy. And let's see what the tires are on the grid. So the top 9 on the set of softs, Shane on the set of mediums, of course, using the tires that they set in their qualifying. Podlovsky on the set of softs, Harris on the set of mediums, then Cavalis on softs, Sufjan, and then Matty D13 on the set of mediums. Crew Steamers on the hard. So he's looking for a one-stop potentially here today. Patty Pat on the mediums, Vigilante and David Boyer near the back on the set of softs, and then Lost Robot on the set of mediums. But then Pulowski and Harris both disqualified from the formation lap. So from what it looks like, they had a little bit of a collision, and in classic cold tires form, they're going to be we're going to be saying Flintstoning their way up to turn 1. But gotta say, very excited for the race start. I hope you guys are excited back at home. And if you guys are interested and you do enjoy the content, please hit that like button. We want to hear from you guys to see how much you are enjoying the content. Same goes if you are new to the channel and you see yourself coming back from time to time, please hit that subscribe button. We actually have just surpassed the 350 subscriber mark. And I want to thank everyone for participating in that. A big round of applause for everyone back at home.
Great job,
And also,
Great job.
oh, say again?
I just said great job.
Oh, okay. And also, please have that notification bell on. I want to know from you guys in the chat who are part of the notification bell squad. I want to hear from you guys because we have races all the way through the week from Mondays to Fridays, from PC Tier 1 on Monday. Same goes with PlayStation Tier 1. We had PC Tier 2 earlier today with PlayStation Tier 2 on Tuesdays. If you guys
Yeah, I
want to
didn't
know
get a chance.
all of the races that we do, look in the description. We have everything right there.
I normally like to listen to or watch and listen to every grid because I typically learn from all the drivers because I'm one of the slowest drivers in the whole Prospects eRacing League. It's so frustrating. But it's
Well,
like
hey.
I learn from all you guys, huh?
Well, hey, all I'm saying is, if you believe that, one thing that we all can guarantee is that you're one of the most loved. Hands
Oh, thank you.
down.
That's pretty nice of you to
But
say.
now, we have 5 red lights to kick things off. And Artistic, I'm going to leave it with you, my man.
Oh boy, just nervous time. All right,
Yep,
let's
nervous
get here in
time.
front of the grid.
Don't get scared and call in saying, nope, I can't do it.
Oh, never that, never that. All right, we're waiting on the green lights to get here to us here. All right, we're about to go green. And we're off. It looks like Tintorello's got a good little start on him. Jonesy's right there trying to pull in on the inside. Looks like Jonesy might have... Oh, no, he backed out a little bit. Tintorello pulled out. It looks like they're still battling for that number 1 spot. Tintorello's got the inside on it, and Jonesy backed off a little bit, followed by Natty, Pickman, Dylan, Key Mouse, Owen, Just Coconut, Shane, and Rogue Burger here, topping out the top 10. So it looks like so far we got a really clean start. No incidents all the way through the grid.
Oh, and right as you
Nice
say it,
clean
David
track racing.
Boyer has himself a little bit of a spin. Will now be at the back of the grid. We now see T-Mouse. Look at this. T-Mouse, Dylan, and Owen going 3 wide down towards turn 11. No, sorry, turn 10. And of course, DRS will be enabled in the next coming of laps. Look at all these drivers, man. What a sight to see, man. Love that.
Yeah, they're
Absolutely
really roaring up
love that.
They're really roaring up this back end. This is typically my favorite part of the track. You get a chance to really just kick this car up and see how fast you can go. You know, I'm sitting on the Matty D right now, and he's in 19th place, but from this back position here, you get a good opportunity to see people bumping into each other like Vigilante and Harris. They got a little rough. They got a little rough around the edges. A little rough.
Well, you can see that all of these drivers want to get the best start that they potentially can get, but it's a league race, my man. That's the one thing that a lot of drivers tend to forget once in the heat of the moment. It is not a sprint race. It is more of a marathon, and you're looking for the long-term results instead of the short results. But Dylan is going to be making the move early on Team House on the inside, going up the hill towards turn 1, and you can actually see how close they are. Dylan on the inside, Team House on the outside. Now they switch roles, and Dylan will now move up into P6 with a beautiful overtake, beautiful battles, great sportsmanship and awareness from all of the drivers being involved. And that is what we strive here in Prospects.
Absolutely, and that's one of the great things about racing with so many people in the league play, because not only do you race with them at the end of the week, but you typically tend to seek each other out throughout the week to race with, so you get comfortable with not only like who's fast, but who's aggressive, who's over-aggressive, who's a little kinder, who doesn't really try to mix it up with the elbows on corners and whatnot. So you actually develop an understanding of the character of the other drivers and the etiquette of the drivers. We just had an accident somewhere?
Yep.
Oh, man, we had a spin out here in section 1. Who is that?
Oh, yeah, Harris. But look at Shane here. 3 wide between Shane, Team House, as well as Just Coconuts. And Shane on the set of mediums, go figure as well, with an absolutely beautiful dive bomb on the inside, able to make the double overtake. And with the mediums, he's doing pretty well out there. Like you said, one to watch as well. For being such a experienced driver in the league from years and from like a few years back, a few seasons back as well. And on those set of mediums, started in P10, now up to P7. So a pretty good start for him. And Harris is continuing to mess up. He's not having a good start here, as is not being too kind to him. Just Coconuts now looking on the inside of Team House up towards turn 1. Just like I said earlier, a lot of overtaking opportunities up towards turn 1, and it looks like with the DRS being involved on this lap, we're going to be seeing even more, as Just Coconuts and Team House have themselves a little bit of a spin. Team House goes into the wall, and he is now out of this race. Virtual safety car now deployed. Whoa!
But just real quick, you were talking about Shane and how he moved up from P7 to P10 to P7 real quick. He was saying in the Discord that he anticipated trying to get into P7. That's where that was his ceiling. And then it seems to be towards the race started, he started thinking maybe he can get a little closer. He wasn't anticipating podium, but I guarantee you right now he's thinking podium.
But one person, well, there's actually a lot of people, sorry to cut you off there, but also Lost Robot Racing started in last place due to a collision with David Boyer. On the set of mediums as well, P20 up to P14 already in 3 laps. And Harris making another pit stop. Looks like he got a end plate actually broken off of his wing, so he's going to be going out there for a new front wing. And he is actually disconnected. I think that if he's trying to leave, he forgot to retire the car. But very unfortunate there for Harris. Just hasn't had a good start here, but still should keep on pushing.
All right, so I'm not looking at the display for a while. Let me send Harris an invite. Try to get him back in here.
Oh, he's back in. He's back in. Right. Well, one person I'm looking at now. Look at Owen. He's right on the tail end of Pigman Man. DRS has been re-enabled, so we could be seeing an overtake here. But look at the rear wing of Pigman Man. The amount of dirty air that these drivers are going to be experiencing into these corners, as Owen actually gives Pigman a little bit of a bump on the exit of turn 1 as he now pushes away. I think Owen might be looking at front wing damage here, so we're going to have to keep an eye out for him. Dylan right on the diffuser of the McLaren. And looks like a little bit of a glitch on the interval, so we do apologize for that. But so far, how would you describe this start here, Artistic?
Suffering. I mean, absolutely amazing. No, not nearly the amount of carnage I anticipated on lap 1. And what are we, 4 laps in? We've only lost 1 driver. So I think right now we're off to a really great opportunity to have a fantastic race. I mean, it's already wonderful the fact that the race is dry. So many races this week have started with wet races or wet qualies, and these drivers have had a dry surface the whole time. So they should have the greatest opportunity to have the most optimal driving.
Yep, and one thing I am experiencing actually right now, both Owen and Pigman Man, as well as Cavalis and Polovsky going side to side too. Battles happening on the grid right now. As Dylan also has a disconnect. Not too sure, but
Great.
look at Pigman, man. He is pushing against the dirty air of Owen, as you can see right on that diffuser.
Who was that you said had a disconnect? I was just looking at a battle there.
That was
Dylan?
Dylan, P6.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate that. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, this has been so far an extraordinary race, as has been battles all the way through the field, all over the track. We're actually seeing a huge DRS train here, led by oh, look at Shane making the move on Dylan, but led by Rage Burger. Look at that. So there's, from leading Rage Burger, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drivers in a DRS straight, and look at Matty going side to side with Cruise Steamers through the S's, and Sufjan is now out of this race.
Oh boy.
Through those S's, he just lost a little bit, probably took too much of the curb there, a little bit of oversteer. So, but it looks like we're going to be continuing on. Just Coconut as well, right on the tail end of Cavalis, looking to try and make the move, just can't really find it. A lot of oversteering, a lot of wheel spins coming into these corners, so a little bit of overheating. But Pulowski is now closing the gap on Rage Burger, down towards turn 11 with the DRS. Rage is trying to defend on the inside. Pulowski, but look at Cavalis! What a move, son! Able to make his way past Rage Burger with that DRS. Now he's looking to try and make it a double overtake, but Rage Burger is not having it. He's going to try and go side to side here, and Cavalis defends on the inside, still trying to find the move against Pulowski. Might get it up towards turn 1, but now start of lap 6, Tintoretto still leads the, well, no, sorry, start of lap 6, Tintoretto still leads this race.
Well, I tell you, they're battling all over the grid, because I'm looking at Matty and Crew Steamers go at it. Crew just made an amazing move, wrapping around the back end. Looks like he's going to stay ahead of him right now, pulling up into his first straight.
Oh, we're now looking at Just Coconuts on Burger as well. Look at Cavalis as well, and Pulowski makes a dive on the inside. Look at that! Just Coconuts got way too ambitious into turn 1. Now hits the side of Pulowski and rejoins in P17 because of that mistake. Got too ambitious, mistimed the braking zone, and just now has to take the responsibility of that as well.
Yeah, he might even be missing some wings here because, okay, it needs to change angles on me. Let me see him a little better. No, but his wing's good. His wing's good.
But you gotta say though, with that hit, you gotta question if Pulowski is having a roll cage in that car, because that car looked more like a tank. It just bumped it off like it just shrugged it off like it was nothing.
That's it.
Oh, and look at Shane as well as Pigman Man once again. Pigman Man trying to prove those set of softs, has the life still on lap 6. But Shane trying to, a little bit of contact! Oh!
Shane MC, oh my goodness, the stewards are gonna have a look at this one here, because we had a nice little battle there that was interrupted by a little bit of contact.
Yeah, but
we don't have a safety car.
No, we don't, which is pretty nice. We only have a virtual safety car. As
boy.
Shane once again.
Shane, those tires must be burning hot because he can't seem to stay on the track right now.
Well, it's burning hot. You can, then you know what? We're gonna be using those set of rubbers to cook up a rack of ribs. Let's start the barbecue.
That's right.
And look, he's still putting him up. Oh no,
man.
It's just not looking good for Shane. That one contact can really mess it up. But
And then once you spin, those tires won't cool down fast enough. He's in the pits now. He's probably going to put on a set of hards, I'm sure.
Well, let's see. Same goes with Just Coconuts as they both into the pit lane. Coconuts on the set of hards, and Shane is reaching his pit lane now. Pigman Man. Oh wow. Okay, I gotta tell you this right now. Oh, another set of mediums. So he's gonna go with a 2-stop potentially. But I'm looking at Pigman Man. Did you just see what he did?
No, I was watching Shane.
He did an absolutely extraordinary strategy call here. On turn 9, he actually slowed down and let Dylan through so he can get DRS here up towards turn 11. And as you can see, pays off. Patty Pat making the move on Pulowski. Breaks a little bit later, and that's going to get Pulowski the move on the inside potentially. He's still there, but decides to back out of it. Patty Pat still gives the space, so Pulowski's going to take advantage of it.
A
little bit of squeezing on the outside for Patty Pat. as Pelosi has to go off the track limits to avoid collision, and Patty Pat is
Great
able to
racing.
make the move. He did give enough space, but
Yeah, they
Pelosi
did.
just wasn't confident with it. But with those set of softs against those mediums, right now he's got to be looking at a pit stop potentially, as we now see Rageburger and Dylan into the pit lane.
Yeah, we got close battles all over the circuit right now. Let's say where is the closest one? Well, I got several people pitting right now as well. Here we got here.
We got Dylan, Rageburger, as well as David Boyer entering the pit lane. Dylan moving on to a set of hards. Rageburger and David Boyer both moving on to a set of mediums. So a lot of different strategies all over the grid, would you say?
Yeah, and I'm looking at Vigilante, see if he can make a move there on Pelosi, all the while being chased down by Lost Robots. So we got a battle for the 8th position.
Hold on.
Here,
We might have a battle for the race leader actually here, as Jonesy has the DRS on Tintoretto, and Jonesy makes his way into the lead of this race on lap 8, and he's going to be pushing it now. He's currently in second in the driver's standings with 78 points. He needs to get a race win to close the gap between him and Lost Robot, where Lost Robot is currently in P10 on his 7-lap old set of mediums. So he's doing pretty well. Started in last, up to 10th. Same with his teammate of Vigilante. Started in 18th, up to 9th. They just took their starting position and just cut it in half.
Yes, sir. And they seem to be going at it right now. And as I said, they're battling for the 8th position, but Peloski's no slouch. You know, he's not going to let either one of these guys go. And Patty Pat said, hey, y'all can do all the racing you want. Just stay on back there. Stay on back there and out of the way. Don't start none, won't be none.
But this is the thing as well. Start of lap 9 now. Those softs are really going to be at their dying legs. As we now see Pigment Man, Cavalis, as well as Pelovsky entering the pit lane. So
Patty Pat slid through. All right, Patty stayed out there on the mediums.
Yep, and Vigilante stayed out on his set of softs here. So a bit of a longer stint for the Ferrari driver.
So it looks like we've got a safety car, section 2.
Oh, and that's going to be Harris. Harris is out of this race as he crashes out through the S's. You can see his car on the right side. Just has not had a good race for him. Got a feel for the man, but he wasn't the first one out, so I think that's one thing that he's going to be proud of. Like, this track catches out a lot of the top runners. Doesn't matter if, it catches everyone, to be honest with you. Doesn't matter if you're on top, doesn't matter if you're in the middle, doesn't matter if you're at the back. It catches out a lot of people. As we saw earlier with Shane, we saw it with Harris, we saw it with T-Mouse, after having a gruesome battle with Just Coconuts, I do believe. So it catches out a lot of people.
I watched several streams leading up to this week to see who some of the top drivers are and the strategies they had and some of the broadcasters and all those type of things. And almost everyone started off with the problems that they have on this track. And everyone pretty much went through that first section. Those S's that you love, that you're great at, they all had trouble with. And we've had some trouble here today.
Who said I was good at that?
You said they were your favorite part.
Oh, no, my favorite part was the triple apex right-hander right here, as we're watching Vigilante, Patty Pat, and Lost Robot Racing. I'm looking in the chat as well. Tier 1 commentator, watching his co-commentator. Lemony Tang is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. EE for the man. Saying good stuff, commentary. Thank you so much, my man. Really do appreciate it. But Tintoretto now loses the lead, as Dylan is out of this race. And that's going to bring out the safety car. Look at that. Such a tough break for Dylan, as David Boyer will now be passing by his teammate, as he is now going to be the last one, as Dylan passes on like Captain Price. You're the last one. Complete the mission.
You know, this is the kind of driving where really it's so tough that once you get out of whack, that you just want so hard to push to get it back, but any little misstep can not only cost a race, but just cost you just enough time. You'll spend all day out there racing, but you'll just be losing time, so you push and then goofiness happens. But hey, great driving anyway, man.
But this is the thing as well that these drivers have got to realize. Tintoretto has actually made a huge mistake. He has made the pit stop too early. So now Jonesy and AFS Natty will be now going into the pit lane for their new set of tires, and will be out ahead of Tintoretto.
He had to have a reason for that.
Well, of course, it's 9 laps, so of course, when it comes to the strategy, of course, no one
Oh,
can
he
really
came out on
anticipate a
soft. No, I had
crash.
to switch. No, I had to switch and see what he's on. Because he was on mediums, I couldn't understand. I'm thinking, why would he switch medium so early? But he switched soft so early. Okay, no, I
Yeah.
had that backwards. Okay, I had that
Yes,
backwards.
so as you can see, Jonesy and AFS Natty, of course, AFS Natty being last season's drivers champion in Division 3, so it's good to see him doing very well in Division 2 after being promoted. But now Vigilante's strategy is going to be a little bit better, but it's going to be a little bit different as well, as he's going to be entering the pit lane, as well as Patty Pat on his old set of mediums. Same goes with Lost Robot. The Ferrari bros are actually going to be double stacking. And look at Tintoretto trying to catch up, but he's going to be right behind Natty at that line. So Tintoretto will now be restarting in third place, where Jones will be starting in the lead. But we actually had a
You know,
new rule actually implemented. I'm actually going to show you guys this right now as I was reading the driver's handbook. So, when the lead driver takes control of the field as the safety car returns into the pits, they effectively become the safety car and set the pace for the rest of the field. When this occurs, then the minimum speed shall not drop below 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour, and that is shall remain at a constant speed in order to keep it safe for all drivers with the exception of slow corners. However, the lead driver must return to the minimum speed limit on corner exit. Corners that would be deemed acceptable to drop below the speed limit will be communicated before the race, which we actually have done during the driver briefing. It is the lead
excellent.
driver's responsibility, aka Jonesy, at all times during the end of the safety car period to ensure that the pace remains as constant as possible. Weaving is allowed for tire warm-up, obviously, until they decide to restart the race at race pace at their own discretion. This may only be attempted once during the race restart process. So basically, what that last statement saying is that they would only go to race pace once they feel like they're ready to go. They cannot go to race pace, then slam on the brakes, and then go to race pace. That's not how this works.
But I will say this. Everything is not always as cut and dry as it may appear sometimes, because it may seem as if we have a lot of safety car related issues, but even if you look at F1, F2, F3, they are all, even this season, constantly having the same safety car issues that we are currently having. So even as we try to look to we look to our rule book, and when those things aren't really crystal clear, we point back to the main, rule book in which F1, FIA is centered under, but even that is somewhat hazy. So, we got to cut each other a little slack when we're trying to mitigate through this to say, hey, we're not perfect, and we're just trying to make sure we all have a great time.
Exactly.
It's about
Well,
line.
there's also another rule that we have to announce as well. When driving under safety car conditions, any driver that moves alongside the other car, which means the person behind, they're like pulled to the side and they're like practically side to side, even if the front wheel is going side to the rear wheel, and remains there, will face a minimum penalty of 5 seconds and 2 penalty points if reported to the stewards. If the car in the front brakes heavy and you have no choice but to move alongside, not completed and overtake to avoid contact, this will not be penalized once you move back to your normal safety car position, behind the car in front of, obviously.
And and it would seem like, hey, that's not fair. He's going to have too much of an advantage over the car that's trailing him. But in all honesty, if you don't have enough room to weave your car, you can't even really get a good. You can't get a good start, and it's going to cause problems for everybody behind you. So give the person ahead of you a little bit of leeway so he can get some juice up there, and you can get on him.
Exactly, but remember how we were saying earlier during qualifying, where this is actually a track where Lewis Hamilton had his last win at McLaren. There is actually another fan favorite driver that had their final win with a constructor, and that's going to be Kimi Raikkonen's final Ferrari win back in 2018. So just to give you guys a little bit of a flashback, Kimi Raikkonen took his final Ferrari win in the 2018 United States Grand Prix, where Max Verstappen had been forced to start near the back of the grid after a car failure in Q1, while Lewis Hamilton started in pole. But Kimi Raikkonen had a little bit of an upper edge compared to the rest of the grid, where everyone actually did a two-stop strategy, where with Kimi Räikkönen. He actually did a one-stop and came across with the race win, where the top three were separated by 1.5 seconds. So,
Hey, you know what? On a sidebar note, I'd like to say that you guys are driving amazing. I know it may seem like, okay, you lost a few drivers, 4 drivers to be exact, but we don't have a single penalty. And I've probably watched 10 races on this particular circuit this week alone. And every single race, even in our Tier 1 and 2s, were several penalties up and down the grid. It was only a couple of guys sometimes who would survive that. So to have 16 drivers penalty-free 12 laps in, kudos, man. You guys are driving your tires off, shall I say.
exactly, but Jonesy goes directly at the line, and look at that by Patty Pat! Was able to get the restart and gained so many positions into turn 1. I believe he was around P6 or P7, and he's already up to P2. Amazing reaction times from the Williams driver of Patty Pat as he now lines up in P2 at the start of this safety car restart.
Yeah, we got a 16 car change difference with this guy. 15. He moved up 15 spots. Started off in 17th position. So Patty Pat is well on his way to driver today if he can keep it up. Keep it up, Patty. You look great.
Well, let's see, and I knew it was going to happen. This is a track of very tight corners, even though turn 1 is as big as Texas practically. Owen is the first one to get a time penalty, but look at this now. Look at this battle for P6. We're going to go on board with Crew Steamers to see the battle of Cavalis and Matty D13. Cavalis on the inside for the Alfa Romeo. Matty D just couldn't get the traction down on his set of mediums compared to the new set of softs of Cavalis.
Well, Owen just made a great move on Vigilante, and he's trying to chase down Lost Robot along this back end here. And man, like I said, up and down the grid, these people are racing. They're really doing it.
They're doing an exceptional job, extraordinary for all of these drivers, especially with Patty Pat with that safety car restart. He's going to be remembering that for a long, long time, even if he doesn't come out on top here today. But honestly,
and even though Owen had to, he's the one person we have that's got a penalty. And in his defense, I know I keep saying this, but in his defense, he might have driver fatigue on this circuit. He's already raced this circuit twice on Tier 1 in both PC and PlayStation. Now he's back here with us again, so it's like this guy's just a racing machine. And after a while, your eyes just get a little drummed out looking at the same circuit.
Oh, huge contact!
Oh,
woo! Huge contact with Rageburger and Lost Robot as they were going side to side. Lost Robot gave the space on the inside, but Rageburger just wouldn't be able to move quick enough. Looks like he was trying to follow the racing line there. Lost Robot then made contact with him, and Rageburger goes spinning off. But Lost Robot, from starting in last place up to P9, made the pit stop to a new set of softs. I don't see them lasting until the end here, but he's doing an exceptional job currently in the points.
If he had any damage since then, but he looks like no, he seems to be maintaining his speed.
Oh, look at Just Coconuts as well, and Vigilante, sorry to cut you off there, Vigilante defending against the hard compound runner of Just Coconuts, and he's able to just barely come out with that position after defending beautifully. But look how close Patty Pat is onto Jonesy, around 2
like he's tired of being in
tenths.
second place, doesn't it?
True, he is. He's tired of being in second place. If you look at race finishes from last season, where he had Leclerc, if you do remember him, Leclerc actually being his teammate when they were both in the McLaren, he came out with a lot of good finishes, both in Portimao, I do believe. I know in Sochi in Russia he did a very good job. As Cavalis now looks on the inside of Pavlovsky coming up towards turn 1. And they're still going side to side. Let's see if they're going to be going side to side through these S's as well. And it looks like Pavlovsky backs out of it, does not want to recreate a Lost Robot and Rageburger incident. Matty D13 is almost trying to find a move against his teammate. AlphaTauri side to side here up towards turn 8 and 9.
And speaking of Patty Pat, hey, he's got one of the best open lobbies that you can come across in the world pretty much every weekday. I think it usually starts about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning in Midwest time. I'm usually up pretty much every day, all day. Where it's like, he goes on pretty early, and if you're friends with him, join his lobby, and it's Patty Pat TV. And like I said, there's some people at all all three of our tiers in Prospects eRacing League are also often joining, as well as the Academy. And then there's several other people that are really high-end racers that I've seen in other leagues, and there are other tier ones who race with Patty Pat every day. So this community really brings in other communities of really high-end, excellent racers who also have some really good character and etiquette as they drive, because they will throw your butt out of the lobby if you're driving crazy.
Yeah, I know that definitely. I was actually when I first joined in one of his lobbies, it was actually really fun when I first did it. But talking about Patty Pat as well, he comes across with the fastest lap so far, a 135.0 for the man, as those set of softs. Oh wow, 3 drivers with time penalties like a snap. And Crew Steamers as well, looking on the inside of Pulowski on his set of mediums. Pulowski is just can't really defend turn 1 pretty well compared to the rest of these drivers. Got caught out by Crew Steamers, caught out by Cavalis. Looks like he's being pressured now by Lost Robot Racing. So it's going to be tough for all of these drivers right now.
Yeah, they're actually letting David Boyer back into the race because it looks like he's got about 5 drivers ahead of him with penalties. So if we can kind of move up just a little further, this is dropping him in right behind Lost Robot into the 9th spot just off penalties alone. So
exactly, but look how long this DRS train is actually, where you have Crew Steamers in P6 all the way down to Shane in P15. What is that? 10 drivers in a DRS straight. Lost Robot is now looking on the move. Crew Steamers going to give him some slipstream, and Crew Steamers is going to actually give the space on the inside now. Going to fight it around the outside, 3 wide, down towards turn 12. But Lost Robot with a double overtake of Dreams, pulling a Cavalis on the previous laps as he now moves up into P6. And look how close there are Crew Steamers. Same goes with Matty D, right on the tail, or practically the side pod of Owen. Sorry, that's not Pulowski. Yeah, Matty D. I did say Matty D. Sorry. Just had a brain fart again.
Looks like Pulowski picked up a penalty. Now you're doing great. And you know what? They really did excellent through there, too, because that DRS train, normally when they get around that back end, that's when it, if they're too close together, they start squishing and people start bouncing off the track. But now they did a great job of not having those kind of problems.
And just coconuts.
Oh! Coconuts look like
his race has gone from bad to worse, from a time penalty to then having to use the hard tires against mediums and soft tires. Now no wing, and the thing is, he broke his wing in the worst part at the end of the lap, and that is not what you want to do. But look at this now, Jonesy Tintoretto as well as Patty Pat giving themselves a good 3-way battle for the race lead. We're going to now go on board with Patty Pat, going to go in the rear view. As you can see, he's trying to go from side to side on the track now, hugging the inside, going back to the outside as he's trying to break the slipstream. Jonesy ain't having any of it as he's now going on the outside down towards turn 11. And look at Patty Pat trying to defend, use those set of softs, breaks a little bit later to close the door, but Jonesy tries to give the same back, and Patty Pat mistimes the braking zone, goes wide, but he has a faster rundown towards turn 15 here, and Tintoretto finds the door open, and he makes advantage of it.
See, I thought I'd throw Crew Steamer's name out there, because he's a sneaky one. That's the guy right there. You don't really talk about him. He's not really towards the, one of the top upper echelon of quality guys. So he's kind of in the mid pack towards the race start. But if you look up, if you got some penalties, if you slipped up a little bit, he will absolutely steal the podium position away from you. So keep your eye on Crew Steamers.
Well, we're going to have to keep an eye on him now as Cavalis. Oh, look at that! Patty Pat breaks super early into that corner. Jonesy tried to make the move back.
Picked up a penalty.
Yeah, but that's the thing though as well. Should Jonesy actually make the move right now? I would say no, because he would have DRS to catch up and pass Patty Pat, but also what he wants to do is make Tintoretto slow down to keep him behind him, and then just farm Patty Pat for that DRS, because he already knows that he's going to beat Patty Pat at this point because of that time penalty.
Exactly.
All he needs to do is keep Tintoretto behind him, get into the DRS, get into the slipstream of Patty Pat, and then make the move when he feels is best. And I think that's going to be what he's going to be planning on. Of course, as well as keeping a clean race. But look at this, Jonesy now looking on the move. He's looking on the inside here. Patty Pat's squeezing him.
That was close. Great job of moving out of his way, Patty Pat.
They were a whisker between each other there, but what an absolute move from Jonesy as Patty Pat is trying to fight it back, but He's gonna be.
Oh!
Oh, look at the move on the inside. Can he find it?
Great move, Patty Pat!
Oh,
That
what a
dude's a monster.
move!
That's a legendary move right there. That's what I'm talking about.
That is what
Are
we
you sure
came
this
here to
is tier
see.
1? Are you sure this is not tier 1? These tier 2 guys, man. Let me tell you. You know what? Our league has just improved so much. This was tier 1, but now our tier 1 is like tier 1A. Are you kidding me? And look at Natty. Natty is our tier 3 champion last year, and the man is P4 right now, putting it down with 9 laps left. Uh-oh.
Ooh, what happened?
Looks like Jonesy was trying to make a move on Patty Pat, coming up on turn 1, but Patty got out of the way a little bit. Jonesy backed off him. Then they cut in through the S's, making it around through the end of turn 1. Going to be getting on the top of turn 2 here. Section 2, I'm sorry.
And Equazer actually says the same thing as you right there. Tier 1 version 2 says Equazer in the chat. But it just shows that all of these drivers right now, they can switch through any of the divisions, but still provide extraordinary racing, even if they're going up against people that are way past their skill range. Like the people, like, let's say this, like, so a lot of those top runners in the leagues, they always get like the most publicity. But is those like people that, no offense, but like people that get like less points in the standings, but also things like that, they actually still do an extraordinary job just to keep a clean race. To not just that, but also just to turn up as well, because there's a lot of people where they would like pull out last second in a lot of the leagues. But honestly, a lot of people deserves recognition. Everybody.
If you look at the last few years with so much going on in the world between conflicts and pandemics or epidemics and so many personal things people are going through in their lives, and to see that people are able to week in, week out, show up as consistently as they are. But one thing I tell you this, great move by Jonesy here. People don't always have the opportunity to show up in the race, but I'm yet to see them not show up in each other's lives. Anytime someone needs something, man, this community is on point for whatever these people need to help them get through the rougher times. And it's just unlike anything I've ever seen, but I just seen Owen slid off the track.
Oh, Patty Pat had a little bit of a bumping rubbers with Jonesy, and Patty Pat, with the extraordinary reaction times there, is able to fight back and get that car back out there on the track. But you can see he's struggling a little bit with the racing line. That's going to give Tintoretto the opportunity to make the move. Same potentially with Natty, who is looking on the inside of Patty Pat. Patty Pat breaks a little bit later, but goes a little bit deeper. That's going to give Natty the opportunity to make the move as they still go side to side here. But as you were saying about that as well, like I had like one of the worst weeks in a long time, actually, like a few weeks ago, and the people that just messaged out just to see how I was, and like, because I was gone from commentary for like about a few weeks during like a certain period, where like a lot of stuff happened in the background, from a memorial to like a very close passing away as well, and it's just these people reaching out as well. It doesn't only show that these people have heart and desire, but also that these people are real. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're compassionate. It's like in this league, it's like speed is secondary. I'm one of the slowest people I've ever seen. It's disgusting. But all the while, when it just comes to it's heartbreaking sometimes. I'm a very competitive person, so to lose at this level is just, it's gut wrenching. But I just keep going. But all the while, just to see that no matter what, people are always encouraging and always willing to be there to help you and take time out of your lives, or it's just, and not just for me, but just for each other. And people they just meet are just, it's like, you ever heard that expression? People who have never met a stranger. And you just see that just over and over and over and over and over. It's like character first, and then speed,
Exactly. And that's why this league is so desirable. And honestly, and not even just that, but even to the people that are watching back at home, honestly, absolutely love the support day in and day out. Always provides us with some good comments in the chat. Always loves to interact with us, and we just love that, my man. Like, we love that. Chaos Druid as well. I feel artistic. I'm with you sometimes, says Chaos Druid. Honestly, we're all in the same boat, my friend. We're all in the same boat. But Tintoretto makes the move on Jonesy to take the lead of this race. And Tintoretto as well with a time penalty.
The penalties are starting to rack up as the race gets closer to. We're about a sprint. We're about a sprint race away from wrapping this bad boy up. So we're going to see who can stay penalty free. That might decide who our winner could be.
True, but also one thing that we got to start talking about actually is driver of the day. And so far, everyone's been having such an amazing race right now. Like a few people that's had a good race. Shane MC, who started quite up there, in qualifying, had that huge spin at the beginning of the race, fell down to the back. With that safety car, was able to catch back up, and he's currently in P8, back into the points. We also see Cruise Steamers, who did an exceptional job. Currently, I believe, with a one-stop strategy, and he is making his way up the grid. And as you said, a little bit of a sneaky driver to make some moves. We can also say Lost Robot Racing, who's currently out there on a 10-lap-old set of softs. And started at the back of the grid, moving his way up the field, and now right behind his main rival for the drivers' championship. And honestly, these two have been battling out for championships not only in this league but in other leagues for seasons and seasons. So these two have a lot of chemistry with each other, and they have a lot of respect for each other as well on the track and off the track. We are now seeing Jonesy trying to defend, but Lost Robot with his pace as he squeezes him onto the inside. Lost Robot now moving up into P3, provisional P2 if Tintoretto finishes with that time penalty. But Lost Robot with those set of softs, at this point in time, he's really going to be struggling now coming to the late finish of this race.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely gutted for Patty Pat, because this is a guy who just moved all the way up to the top of the race. And I feel bad. I was racing with him in his lobby about 2 weeks ago, and I don't know, something happened. I fixed my chair or something weird, and I didn't hit my braking point. They said, I hit the back of him. So ever since I hit the back of him in an unleague related race, I kind of want Patty Pat to win all the races after that. Patty Pat, you can do it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, even with everything against him, he's doing a very, very good job right now. Currently P14, unfortunate with the time penalty, as Cavalis and Matty D13 swap positions down the DRS straight towards turn 1, as Patty Pat continues to prove his pace with the fastest lap. But right now I'm looking at it. If it stays like this, AFS Natty will be coming home with the race win here tonight, with Lost Robot in second and then Tintoretto potentially finishing in third if it stays like this. But Lost Robot might be losing out a little bit with the pace of those old set of softs right now. And Tintoretto has just been doing an exceptional job. Pole position as well. Could be coming across the line, first cards across the line, but still finishing in the podium. What more could you want?
Well, as I said earlier, that Shane had predicted he was going to get in P7. And right now, Crew is in P7. And we got 5 laps left. And Crew, I'd just like to let you know that Shane wants your spot, bruh. So,
well, and you know Shane, he ain't going to give it away too easy.
No, Crew ain't giving it away too easy. Shane's coming for it. So we got all the old PRL OGs right here fighting it out for P6, because we got PRL Owen here at P6, chased by Crew, chased by Shane, chased by David Boyer here. Let's get it. Let's get it.
You gotta love to see that as well. But one thing that we do gotta say as well, ladies and gentlemen, 5 laps left to go. It is the final sprint until the checkered flag. And Artistic, which driver out there has impressed you the most and given you driver of the day potentially? Same goes with the people in the chat. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you guys believe should be earning driver of the day?
Right now, based off the numbers here, I don't know how we can go anyone other than Lost Robot. And I don't typically, I know the game says that, whoever has the most car changes or whatnot, that's automatically who the game will award driver of the day. I don't typically personally do it that way, but right now I don't know how we can argue against that.
I actually think of a way. Because there is no way. Because Lost Robot, honestly, has had an amazing race, and I think everyone in the chat can agree with this. An amazing race, started in last, had an amazing start from last all the way up to P16. No, sorry, to P10 actually. And where his teammate was just ahead of him in P9 at one point. Then and now we're seeing him push a set of softs to its absolute limit to try and get into a podium position and push even further for a Drivers' Championship. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. A little bit of fun fact of Lost Robot. Earlier today, he has actually confirmed a drivers' champion in a different league. So he's gonna be looking for 2 trophies to bring home at the end of each other's seasons.
Yeah, that's a great way to end the season with a championship. You know, typically.
Let alone 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's see now. We're actually looking at a huge DRS train here. Patty Pad's actually looking at trying to make the move on Pulowski here. Pulowski got caught off guard a little bit. Patty Pad switches onto the inside last second, and that scares Pulowski. Look at that. Patty Pad's going to move onto the inside here and move up into P12, find himself now into a AlphaTauri sandwich. We're also looking at crew steamers. Look at this DRS train from Pigment Man to Jonesy to Owen, right, crew steamers Shane and David Boyer.
It's been like this now for about 3 laps or so. I'm wondering if we're going to have any change in this last part of this this top 10 grid. Or are we going to have a change in the order, or is this going to end relatively?
I think it might end like this, to be honest with you. I think it might end like this. So I'm going to prepare the message right now, actually. Sufyan says that in the chat right now on Discord, he says that his Alpine is now a spaceship because of the accident that he had. But look at Owen now on Jonesy. I just missed that bet. I'm sorry about that. Look at that move from Owen. Is able to move past Jonesy up into P5. Jonesy is now looking at his potential Drivers' Championship gain start to be pulled away from him position by position.
Well, you might have been right about that whole pitting a little bit too early on those tires. Is that what happened?
Well, no, I thought Tintoretto did that, but he actually came back. Wait, I'm looking at something here. Tintoretto is pulling away from AFS Natty. If Tintoretto gains another second in these last 3 laps, he will get the race win.
He's going to have to really push. I don't know if Natty's going to let that go down.
I have no idea.
That is the Tier 3 champion. That is the Tier 3 champion we're talking about, sir. That's not just any driver now. You know, let's put some respect on that Tier 3's name, you know.
He deserved it, man. He had an extraordinarily dominant season last season for Tier 3.
Martin. And these last few days, I have personally been on a James Bond marathon. Now, I don't know if anybody has seen Dr. No, but that is hilarious, okay?
I got you.
Oh, my God.
But you know what's the thing, though, as well? Lost Robot has actually played this very well. He was able to make the move on Jonesy, so he can pull away with those set of subs until they start deteriorating, as they are right now. He now has 2 drivers behind him with Pigman Man and Owen. Even though they have time penalties, they're still going to be pushing Jonesy further and further back.
Just made a
as
move
now
on
Crew
Jones.
Steamers is looking for the move around the outside. And Shane!
Shane made a move on Crew!
Woo! Shane with the double overtake! Oh, look at Crew trying to fight back!
Ah!
Good save there from Crew. Oh, a little bit of a shake-up once again. I think Jonesy might be looking at front wing damage now as David Boyer gets himself involved. Jonesy loses 3 positions in almost 4 corners.
Yeah, he's got to be heartbroken right now.
Oh man, that's gotta hurt a lot. But now 2 laps left to go here, and we gotta start awarding driver of the day. And I think it can only go to one person for commentator's driver of the day. Lost Robot Racing.
So yeah, without a doubt.
Absolutely extraordinary. Had from starting in last place due to an incident between him and David Boyer, was able to keep his head up, keep focus on the track. The only thing I would actually disagree with what he's doing right now, he's wearing a George Russell helmet in a Ferrari, so that's the only constructive criticism that I can give him. But
well, how about who's team of the day?
Who's team of the day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is where we gotta start talking about it. I think it's gonna be Ferrari actually, because remember, Vigilante started in 18th. He was actually ahead of Lost Robot. They both entered the pit lane, and Vigilante was down to do the double stack. Same goes with Lost Robot. So they played that strategy absolutely perfectly.
And for one of them to wind up on the podium, I would have to second that.
Well, Lost Robot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's actually see what this means for the Constructors' Championship, potentially. So far, Red Bull are leading the Constructors' Championship with 116, where Ferrari are currently with 91. And if it stays like this, that gap is going to be less than 10 points. Because right now, it's
Ooh,
currently at 25 point difference. I
that's
think right
sweet.
now, it could be less than 10 points if it stays
With
like
two
this.
races, 3 races left.
2 to 3 races left.
Oh my goodness, that's
Well,
what I'm
no,
talking
no,
about.
2 races left after this. But now Owen and
Yeah.
Shane. Shane is with the DRS. He's looking for it. He's using everything that he has for the final lap. Diving on the inside, almost cuts the corner, and he's able
You
to
got the
make the
move, Owen.
move.
Fight back.
Oh, Owen is looking for the outside for the final lap as well. This is the last ditch effort here. Natty's now 3 seconds behind Tintoretto. Tintoretto could be coming home with the race win.
Well, I don't know how that happened. Natty's back on the 3 now.
It's going to be down to the wire because of that time penalty, man. It's going to be down to the wire.
Well, it looks like Cruz got dropped back down to 7th, but we got a 3-second penalty on Owen there. So,
Well, Shane said he got 7th. Now look at him now. He's all the way up to 5th, potentially even 4th once Big Man serves that time penalty.
and I don't know what happened to Natty. Seemed like the last half of the lap here.
Oh, hey, you know what? Hold on.
Him.
I just saw the best message. Message right now. Mason, driver of the day, the grid, the entire grid for a great race. That is a good shout, because everyone has had an amazing race. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on board with Tintoretto, as he's now 3 seconds ahead of Natty. He's going to be the first car to cross the line. It's going to go down to the wire between him and Natty. But Tintoretto, pole position, the race win, as he crosses the line to take the win here at Coda. It's a Mercedes on top. Oh, Natty hits it! Woo! 5 thousandths of a second.
Oh my goodness! Is that our no? I think last year we had a 2 thousandths of a second win, but this is the second closest I've ever seen.
5 thousandths of a second. AFS Natty is able to pull it out from the absolute depths and take the race win. What an absolute win there for him.
And you know what, though? Even though I think the race driver today should go to Lost Robot, Natty needs to get some consideration. This is a guy who wasn't even on the podium. And he leapfrogged all 3 podium position guys to wind up on the top steps. That's, something's got to be said for that. And look at Shane, P4. That's just ridiculous. All these guys, they'd be up and down the grid,
Honestly, absolutely extraordinary. As we're now waiting for Rageburger to cross the line, absolute domination there. Love to see that. AFS Natty, Division 3 champion of Season 5, now getting the race win here in the Division 2 race at Coda. Get that right.
So if you want to know if he belongs, I think that's been stamped.
Exactly. But with that now as well, Natty takes the top step for Aston Martin, like you said.
West side?
Absolutely beautiful for the man there, as there's a Aston Martin, Mercedes, and Ferrari on the podium. We're going to be hearing from our pole position, well, not pole positions, one of them was the pole position, but our podium finishes here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely extraordinary.
I gotta, be happy with the American flag being, even though I don't personally, I'm not a big fan, but symbolically being at the top step. So, super appreciate you putting it down for us, Natty. Thank you.
Honestly, he's gonna be happy about that one. Brings it home. The American brings it home at the American Grand Prix. We're gonna be hearing from these 3 of Natty, Tintoretto, and Lost Robot Racing, hopefully in the few seconds' time. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back for the podium interviews.
That's awesome.
Alright, let's get them added. Oh, yep. Got you covered. My bad on that one. There's the rest of the grid so you guys can get the clips. Honestly, absolutely amazing race from start to finish, even during qualifying. Love that. But let me get these guys added real quick. Let's see, so there's... Where are they to? Where are they to? Tintoretto, AFS Natty, and Lost Robot. What a race, man. That was an absolute race. These guys are going to be excited about that one. Let's see, do we have everyone in here? I think we're missing Tintoretto. Well, until he comes in, we're going to start with the two drivers that we have here today. Starting off with our P3 finisher, Captain Jack, Drunk Pirate, Lost Robot Racing. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, what a recovery that was, hey?
Yeah.
P3 to P3, I'll take that all day longer.
Absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
Right before this race, I said I'll be seeing you in a few moments because I knew you were going to be here on the podium, even through that drought of qualifying. But I actually want to ask you about that. What exactly happened there between you and David Boyer?
So David came out the pit and he did the right thing, so he went around turn 1 and he was going to let me go fast because I was on my fast lap. I literally went around the first turn, got on the curb, got on the power too much, lost the rear of the car and took me and David out. So 100% my fault, but it wasn't intentional, just, yeah, got on the power too much and unfortunately ended both of our quali very early.
Now, you also saw your teammate Vigilante finish off in P18 after that. Were you severely disappointed with both of you guys' results during qualifying?
It was all part of the Ferrari master plan. Honestly, no. We struggled in quali. But I think the race result, where more points
How do you feel
mattered.
when you're driving out there on a circuit and the racing gets real tight and you look over and that's your teammate? Do you race differently against your teammate than you would any other driver that's out there in the grid with you?
Yes, so teammate early on, Lucifer, he let me past, and then there was a section in the race that his softs were better than my mediums on the first stint, so I just let him through, and then he pulled me along for a few laps, which obviously helped. So we played the team game. If one's faster, we will let the other car through to sort of try and get maximum points for the team. There were sections where if I was going through or vice versa, we was trying to, because we were so close on the track together, we was trying to sneak through together on all the overtakes as well. But yeah, we was proper working together on it.
Do you guys come up with this beforehand, or are you just like, hey, all right, let's kind of stay open to each other? Or do you race throughout the week?
No, we do our strat on the fly, take it as it is. Safety car can obviously throw anything up, done it. So as I had to double stack. My teammate on the safety car came out P5 and I lost out for double stacking, come out P11, so I had some work to do. So but I knew I was going to be quick on those softs. I just knew they was going to die, but I just didn't know when.
Well, I got one more question for you, actually. With you and Lucifer Shahid,
Yeah.
this is how I see it, actually, a little bit. I see it as a Schumacher Baticello situation where you're really coming out on top in a lot of these races, and Lucifer Shahid is playing like the second driver to you guys. Do you see it that way, or do you see you guys as equal drivers on the grid?
I will have to say Lucifer has been one of the best teammates I've ever had in any league race. It's fantastic. Cannot put a fault wrong on him. If he's faster at that section, we'll chuck him through because it's no point holding up your teammate. But yeah, he's definitely helped me in the title fight this season. Let's put it that way. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have as many points as I do now.
He has been very well to you, my man. He's been very well to you, and we love to see teammates work together because as teamwork makes the dream work. And right now, your dream of a back-to-back drivers' championship is right in your grasp. Do you think you can get it at the end of the season?
2 races left. Anything can happen. So I'm not going to count my horses yet. I don't know how many points I'm in the lead now by. I can't work it out. But I hope it's more than 25.
Alright. Well, we're gonna leave you to it. But do you have any shout outs or anyone back at home that you want to give a quick shout out?
Or any plug. Give us a plug too. If you got a plug, you want anybody to come and race with you, or a link that we can watch you, let us know who you are.
Drunk Pirate.
So you're
Drunk
switching
Pirate
back.
and shout. Yeah, the Drunk Pirate's not going to come back as Drunk Pirate. I will actually announce it on here now for all of you. Next season, it's Rehab Pirate. There you go.
Rehab Pirate.
Rehab Pirate.
I love that. I love that.
No doubt, that's classic.
I love that. Well, big congratulations to you, my man.
Now gone into rehab.
I love that. But big congratulations to you, my man, where you were a drunk pirate, then you were lost, but then you found yourself back into rehab. But I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful evening. 2 podiums here today, my man. Congratulations in the previous race. But yeah, now we're gonna be listening in to our Division 3 Season 5 Drivers Champion, as well as the race winner here today, taking the win by 5 thousandths of a second. AFS Natty, where are you, my friend?
Boy.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, that was. Man? What's up? Oh man, that was a crazy last lap, man. I honestly didn't think I got it because on the timing screen it was just like switching between 3.2 and then 3.1 and 3 seconds. It was just like I was watching the whole time, and then I kind of messed up on one turn, and I lost like a whole bunch of time, and I was able to gain it back in sector 3, and then I just turned on the ERS and gunned it at the very end, and oh yeah, that was insane.
When you didn't qualify within the podium positions, did you feel as if were you a little disheartened? Did you feel as if you lost your shot at the podium, or did it just inspire you to really go for it?
Oh no, no. I mean, I thought that the quality. I was hoping for like a low 32, which I think I got 32.2, so I was pretty happy with that. And I thought that my starts are usually pretty good, and that I could probably get at least 1, maybe 2 guys off the start. And I think I got Dylan on the start. So no, yeah, I wasn't too upset, honestly. Like I didn't even know where I was gonna be, because early on in the season I was more like the 10th qualifying. The past couple of races I've been qualifying near podium positions, so yeah, I was pretty happy.
Do you feel as if a Tier 3 division champion, do you feel as if coming into Tier 3, Tier 2, do you think, even though the guys were nice to you and everything, did you think they looked at you as a potential race winner? Or are you just a guy who moved up?
I mean, I think early on in the season, I was probably more as just a guy that was just fighting for points, not really a race winner. I think just these tracks that I've been doing recently, I favor them a lot more than some of the ones at the beginning. Hopefully I had some DNFs near the beginning of the season at Mexico, and then I lost even a podium at Netherlands. I think I can contend for wins more now.
Oh, snap.
Can I just say something? Natty, that's probably one of your best drives I've seen all season, and I just want to say from me, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
The battling I seen you lot do at the front when I was obviously catching was just immense. I can't wait to watch it back on the stream because, yeah, it was amazing to see, and you deserve that result.
What did it feel like when you dropped under 3 seconds and you were past, the point of where that penalty would help you take the lead? You started getting near 3.1, 3.2. I'm like, where are you going, Natty? Right? How'd you turn that around?
I don't know. I mean, I think maybe my tires were just starting to fall off more than Tintoretto. I know I was pretty high with my tire wear, so because I was for the most part I was hanging around under 2 seconds for majority of that time, and then like those last two laps, the suddenly like I think my tire just went off, and honestly I started using more. Once I realized that was happening, I started using more ERS
Okay.
because I was saving it, and that kind of saved me, I think, because I like my lap like 25 or 26, I was at like 50% ERS. And then once I saw it, like the number going up, then I just started using more of it and more of it to try and keep within the 3 second. So,
You got the job done and look spectacular doing
yeah,
so.
just barely. That is by far the closest when I've done or ever seen. I mean, that was just incredible.
Yeah, I think we had a race that ended by two thousandths of a second last year, but I couldn't tell you the drivers or the race.
Oh,
But this one here is going in my journal.
it might have been in tier three with Plosky and Lucifer at Silverstone.
That
I
sounds
think it
about
might have been
right.
that one. I know that was pretty close.
That was a battle, but yeah,
Yeah,
this was going in my journal though. So, absolute
awesome.
kudos. Is there any plugs you want to give or shout outs, or how do we watch you race when you're not racing with us?
Shout out. I'll give a shout out to Bevo. He wasn't able to race today, and he's actually from Texas. And I think
Hello?
I think we were talking earlier, and I was like, if one of us like wins, we'll give him a shout out because this was like his home race, like me. And I mean, he's really close to the actual track, Coda. And you know, unfortunately, he wasn't able to race today because of his pedals. I think
Yeah.
they're broken. So yeah,
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 so
he
at
we
was
least we
saw
got an
really
that.
American.
encouraging in the lobby, in the YouTube. He was really encouraging to the other drivers. Like I
Yeah.
said, fantastic community from 1 through 20 across the grid in each tier. These guys really care about each other. And once again, guys is everyone. Because we have a young lady in our midst named Paige, who was my teammate last year, who kicked me up and down the grid. Because I remember saying, "Hey, I can't wait till we get a lady in the league." And we get a lady in the league, and she just beats the hell out of me riding on the way. I'm like, "Hey, be careful with the outro," you know?
Well, I think that's where we're going to leave it right now, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. We have experienced an extraordinary race from start to finish, and honestly, I'm going to watch this back because I enjoyed it so much. Big shout-outs to both crew steamers, Shane, Patty Pat did an amazing job, Jonesy as well, Dylan. Everyone had an amazing race, even after all of the incidents. It was just an overall positive weekend. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back here for Tier 3, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to be seeing your boy, Artistic Genius, out there on the track. Artistic, I want you to get into the points once again, my man, because I want to drink
One
some
more
champagne
time.
with you.
I would love to, you know. So now that, I guess the broadcasting is done for this week, I can focus on my own race, and hopefully I'll do pretty well.
Exactly. But, as it always goes, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, lots of love, and stay safe, everybody. Have a good one.
See you guys. Thank you.